everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studio, and it is Finish It Friday. Finally coming back with one of those, and wait for it, I've actually done a mini challenge in the challenge for Dearjuliejulie June Just Junk Journal Challenge, and I loved it. Now the reason I made sure I got this one done is because, you know, you've seen majority of my kit. I've added some things in since I did my kit video last Saturday, but oh, excuse me, rough night of sleep, and I cannot stop yawning, and I have a really long day. Anyway, for 6.1, we were to use words, doilies, bling, sticker sheet, 2 feet of lace, and 5 bases. Now, here's the thing on a couple of these items. With the bling and the sticker sheet and the lace, whatever we didn't use, we could bring in. Whatever was left over, we could bring back into our kit. These items were not in our original kit. They were not on the original kit list. But whatever was left, we could bring into our kit. Sorry, I forgot to grab something. Anyway. So, we could use 6 to 8 inches of bling, and I always use the bling from Dollar Tree. And so, I pulled out 5 colors. I'm going to set these aside for a minute. I pulled out 5 colors, went with 8 inches, and what I did was I pulled 2 inches off of each of the colors, except the gold and the silver. The gold and the silver I went with 1 inch. Now, if you'll notice, on 2 inches, that's an awful lot of bling there to play with. So, I have plenty of bling that I can continue to use throughout the journal, and I got to pull it from different colors. So, I used that. We could also use 2 feet of lace, and Julie gave us a tip. If you use 24 inches of gathered lace, take it apart, take the top off here, and stretch this out so that the gathering comes out, you wind up with more lace. So in my case, and the lace lengths will vary based on how tight your gather is. This is not gathered very tightly at all. But when I took it apart, from my 2 feet of lace, I added an extra 11 inches of flat lace. So I didn't take the whole thing apart because I knew that at some points I might want gathered pieces to use for tabs and on the edge of pages, but that the flat lace would work better on some of the bases, on to edge a tuck spot or a belly band. So I only took out part of it. I took, I think, about 3 inches of this 12, excuse me. I took about 3 inches of this 12. And I've still got some of that flat lace left to use. So, there was that. My bases, I picked things that were kind of quirky. I'm doing a bird book and birds that visit my yard. But there will probably also be some squirrels show up. But I've also added cat, because cats like to chase birds. I also have a caterpillar, because some birds eat worms and caterpillars. So I went through a deck of cards that I had. This one is all about cats. And I pulled a tabby cat because I have a tabby kitten who was a timber kitty. And she was outside for about 6 months till I found out she had killed, one of my chipmunks. And so now she is a permanent inside cat. So I pulled a tabby cat from this card deck. And then I went through an old Webster's dictionary and I found the definition for tabby. I've added a ruffled piece of that lace, the bling, and part of a doily. Now these doilies came from a shop on Etsy, and if I can scroll back through my purchases and get the link for her shop, these were really inexpensive, and there's 100 of these doilies in there. And I like the natural tone. They were not dyed. They're a natural tone like that. So I've used a piece of it on the bottom. There's my lace. So let's go words, bling, doily, And oh, by the way, our doilies could all be different. We did not have to use the same style of doily, but I chose to go with the natural. A sticker sheet, and as luck would have it, I had one sticker sheet that had 5 birds on it. So we had to have 5 bases, and this was my first one. Notice the fish bones on the back. And my lace, and there's my ruffle. So there was number 1. Number 2 was a words card for flashcard set, and I have cat on the back. Cat still shows up in the corner. I've added a full doily, and when I stapled the lace on, I put it on first with the flat side of the staple on the back, and that let my doily cover the sharper points of the prongs of the staple. And on this one, I added the word definition for cat. Then I have this one, which was another flashcard. It was a Brainbuster set about creepy crawlies from Dollar Tree. And I have this horned caterpillar. Again, I used the whole doily on the back. I didn't want to cover the pictures, so that's why I've tried to go to the back of the card if I could. There's my bling, some of the flat lace on the bottom, and the definition for caterpillar. This one is, the word was sing. So I made sure sing is still visible on the front. Added my bird, and if you'll notice, my bling on each of these kind of coordinates with the colors in the bird. There's the definition of sing, and my flat lace again. And then this was a recipe card from Dollar General, comes in a pack. I think I put the pack away, but here's one that's not covered up. And it's just a recipe card, plain white on the back. I added the ruffled lace on the top again, putting the staples on the back. And then I covered the prongs with a scrap of the fabric that I had left over from last month's journal. And then I just cornered the doily here. And that's where this partial doily came from. And then this was the definition of bird, and it talks about the different parts of the bird. And I had a scrap butterfly that I added to cover the butterfly that was already on here. And more bling. So those are my 5 pieces for the June Just Junk Journal Challenge. Mini Challenge in the Challenge number 1. And now I have new things to add to my kit to be playing with, which I'll be showing you components of my kit next week. Right now, Bob is in the process of building shelves on my cubby wall so that I can put baskets of washi tape. I'm rearranging how I do my washi, and I'm gradually rearranging how I do things in the office because I have had a request to do an organizational video. And those will probably be an organization series where I'll walk you through how I store everything both in my studio and in my warehouse. So thank you for joining me today. I'll leave the link for Dearjuliejulie Just Junk Journal Challenge down in the description box below. And if I can find the link to the doilies, if they're still available, I will link that down below. And in the meantime, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I see you back here tomorrow for Shout Out Saturday and another finished project where I will have the final flip through of the Dollar Tree Junk Journal Challenge that I did with Jessica over at Paper Terrace. I just have to stitch the signatures in, and that one will be done. So I will be back here with that one tomorrow. In the meantime, creative blessings.